That's me, Buddy Dobbs. I was out of options.
Stop! Don't! Whatever the problem is, it is not worth killing yourself over.
Now, my plan, take over this poor schmuck's life for a few days.
You're different than I pictured you.
Yeah, how's that?
I don't know, you're more rugged. We are very proud to have a gay pastor.
And super excited.
It's my son, Jasper. I found this in his room. I think it's marijuana.
High quality, too.
How do you know that?
Missionary work in Jamaica.
You don't sound like any preacher I've ever met.
I'll take that as a compliment.
And you sure don't seem gay.
Make no mistake. I like couples.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello, cast of Impastor.
Hello.
Hello.
Alex, how are you?
Oh, I'm great,
Ooh,
thanks.
I like hearing myself. David, talk in there.
You always liked hearing yourself.
Yes. Sprechen Sie etwas Deutsch? Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
So here we have this show, Impastor, about this slacker who takes on the life of this gay pastor, and it is airing on TV Land, a network that we all grew up with watching reruns of I Love Lucy and the Brady Bunch. There is smoking marijuana on the show, as we just saw in the trailer. There is blowjobs. There is a gay pastor.
Did you say blowjobs?
That's not the show I signed up for.
What?
Are you guys surprised that TV Land, is, as part of their new identity, is taking on a show like this, which has all these things in it?
Yes, and that's, I think, why we did it.
Yeah.
We wanted to be the new face of TV Land, and it's not like they're just departing completely, but they're edging it up, spicing it up a little bit, and when I read the script, I was like, there's no way TV Land is letting us do this. And they did, and it's really a treat.
There are two things going on here, gay topics and topics of religion, which are typically a little hot button on television. And you guys are tackling it with comedy here. There's a lot of playing with tone going on in a tightrope that you have to walk to achieve that tone. How do you do that? Because, I mean, I've seen the episodes and I can say they hit it, but you guys have done this. So how do you pull off that trick?
I think it was really about our director, Rob Greenberg, who, when we did the pilot, we did lots of different takes, lots of different ways, and found the right tone, found the right level, just grounded enough in reality for you to believe it and for you to get behind the characters, but also just a little bit wacky enough for it to still feel like a comedy, for it to still feel like something you were allowed to laugh at. So I really think it's a testament to him.
The tone also, we want to make fun of everything, but I don't think we're like going after Christianity, or we're not going after homosexuality. If we do that, we're not doing our job. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Absolutely,
David?
yeah. I think anytime something happens that's kind of shocking, it's always motivated by something like a good intent. So I think that's a testament to Chris Vane, the writer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't really making fun of religion or anything. It was making fun of him, who's trying to fake his way being a pastor. That's what's funny.
Right.
He doesn't know anything about religion. And he doesn't know anything about the church.
I'm a fish out of water, just trying to balance it out. It's the biggest scam I've ever pulled. So it's interesting every day. I mean, on set, all we did was laugh. And, the situations that they put us in, we have a pubic hair scene, episode 3, which we're not going to even tell you about. You'll have to tune into that one. Remember my pubes?
Nothing to do with Clarence Thomas, by the way.
Oh, thank God.
Like you said, you guys are having a lot of fun, and we're talking about religion as if this is a big, heavy TV show, but it's not. It's a really, really fun comedy. I'm thinking particularly between you, Mike, and Marcia. You guys have a lot of good interplay with each other. What was that like? You play a gay character named Russell. You play a sort of vixenish sort of Christian named Alexa, and you both are in love with Michael's character, Buddy. And you're competing for his attention. You guys sort of have a sort of Karen and Jack dynamic. I'm thinking like Will and Grace. But what was shooting that like, and shooting those scenes with Michael?
Fun.
Very fun.
It was great because we get along so well in real life too. So it was really fun to just have a back and forth. And Mike is so smart. He did Second City. He's super, super witty.
That Mike, yeah.
This one, not you. Let's be clear. So he's really fun to work with. It was great to have scenes. And
do you remember the scene we made out with? Remember that?
I think about it every day.
Yeah, we had to make out, and he plants a good one on me. And he always says that I said something that I don't recall saying, but what was it after the kiss?
The moment we did the kiss the first time, take one, and I was kind of nervous because it's weird. And the moment we finish, Michael just looks at me and says, "How was I?"
I said, "How was it?"
And I was like, about a 6. You can do better.
The 6 is good.
No, it was very good. It was very good.
Thanks.
Mike, do you feel? I mean, we were talking earlier before. There's a gay character on the show, and there's the issue of tone and making sure that you can smartly skewer something without being offensive. Especially with your character, where you're playing a gay character. Did you feel any sort of burden to make sure that you were being respectful while still feeling a license to be funny?
Great question. Yeah, I think we were all very mindful. I think Michael especially was always very mindful of like, this isn't coming off as homophobic, is it? And he would check in with me sometimes, and it never is, because as I said, everything is motivated with good intent. I mean, Buddy has good intentions. They just don't always get carried out well. And he's not actually a gay man, but he's having to pretend to be, so he's messing
How
that.
do you do that?
Exactly, yeah. Yes, and I think anytime, again, something was kind of risque or maybe seemed kind of harsh toward my character, it was always followed with something very sweet,
I mean, David, in terms of religion, nope, that's not how it goes. That's not how you do it. We're doing a sermon, and now, why do you know so much about religion? Tell them.
Well, because I'm very holy and very religious. No, because my father is a minister, and I was actually in divinity school, so I know a lot. I know more than these guys.
That's for sure.
Yeah, he was our on-set consultant. Whenever we had
right.
a question,
Yeah.
he would just
And I didn't
ask.
get a penny for it, nothing.
Well, in the green room, we were talking a little bit about this petition that 1 million moms have put against the show, saying that it is offensive to people who are religious and makes light of religion. Like you said, you grew up with a father who was very much in this world. Do you find any validity in that sort of accusation?
No, they don't. I said they make it. What's funny is somebody who's trying to be that and knows nothing about it. So he's pretending. So he says the wrong things when he's trying to say the right things.
Right.
By the way,
that's what's funny.
it's not a million moms, is it? It's probably like 4 moms in like Albuquerque.
But isn't it not that many?
It's my mom's one of them. She's really outraged by this.
Yeah, I feel like if you're kind of like a low-life, small-time criminal, then this show should be offensive to you. But other than that, I don't think so.
He's a con man. He's an atheist, and these people are real believers. So maybe along the way, is it divine intervention? What is it? Does he start to believe? We don't know that yet, but
And then too, if anything, this is a show about a religious community that comes to embrace an openly gay pastor, which I think there's something to be said about that too.
I think it's very exciting to, like I was saying earlier, we were doing a bunch of interviews, and I was saying that it's exciting to be playing Dora, who is this devoutly religious, full-time employee of a church who also is so progressive and open-minded and so accepting that she actively sought out an openly gay pastor to come and take over the congregation. I think that's really cool.
And even David, your character Audition, who has issues with Buddy, Michael's character, coming into the church, but those issues have nothing to do with his sexuality. They have to do with the fact that he thinks he's just not a good preacher.
Nah, they have to do with sexuality too. Sure, come on. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So there are other guys, and then that's me.
Yeah.
David's really good at press.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, you got to have something to bounce off of,
represents the other side of the coin,
Otherwise,
which I think
everybody
is great.
agrees. That's no fun.
We talked about your background with in religion. Did any of you grow up in particularly religious families or have religious backgrounds that sort of you took a personal experience with you to this
Not
TV
really.
show?
My mom's here.
Was she religious?
Mom, did we?
What was her upbringing like? Mom, Mrs. Monroe, where are you?
Not.
Here's right in front of me.
My mom's my family was very open-minded.
Did you go to church, Marcia?
Very spiritual. We did like different camps for Buddhism, and I went with my friends to their different churches. They were, I was always taught to be open.
I was a Jew. Moved to Indiana. Everybody thought I had horns.
One of the funny things about this show is that despite the fact that he doesn't know anything, by accident, he does do good. So actually what it does, it supports the ideas that the church has, anyway. So that's, in the end, it all comes out because, right, he doesn't know what he's doing, and he fakes his way through it, and by God, he pulls it off.
The Lord works in mysterious ways, doesn't he?
Exactly right.
Or she.
Yeah.
Or whatever you believe.
I think for so many of us, especially people who live in cities, it's hard to believe that these smaller communities that are centered around the church and centered around their pastor exist, but they really do. And that part of what makes this show great is that it spotlights these kind of communities, but doesn't portray them. We were talking about religious stereotypes, doesn't portray them as overly conservative or oppressive or intolerant. It portrays them as very warm people. And I think that does a big service to change the minds of, we're talking about how we didn't grow up religious, but people who grew up that way where they never really understood that kind of community. This sort of gives them a window to see into that and maybe understand them in a different way.
But I think that's when religion works best, when it's about family and it's about being a good human being. And that's what I think my character, Buddy, discovers slowly, is that these people are good, and can there really be that much good in the world? So as dark and edgy and the pot smoking and the prostitutes and all these things, he does see the good in people, or at least he starts to.
Yeah, and ultimately it's sort of a story about redemption, if you think about it. It's about this guy who has never had a great shot in life, a legitimate shot, and he's kind of not a great dude, and goes to this town, and through a series of sort of unfortunate events ends up in this position where he tries to do good. And he finds himself wanting to be a better person. He just doesn't know how. And I think it has a really nice message and good heart to it.
Yeah, and I imagine, on the surface it might be hard to make a character he's a loan shark who watched a man of religion fall off a bridge and die, and instead of calling for help, assumed his identity and goes to this town and pretends to be their pastor and pulls off this ruse. It could be hard to make a person like that likable and a protagonist to root for in a TV series. Was there a challenge in doing that for you, Michael?
Did you like me?
I mean, yes.
The answer is yes. Then it worked.
But what were the challenges in doing that, and how do you pull off?
I always just try to,
like
as crazy as we all are on set and trying to do crazy things and bigger takes and versions of it's really playing the character real and grounded and the nuances of like sincerity, just these little moments, not nailing you hitting you over the head with a hammer, but just the sincere moments, the heart. There's some heart in the show. It's not just edge. It's not just pushing the envelope, just to push it like every other show's doing. I mean, we want people to watch. We want to be edgy. We want to be different, but we also want to be grounded and original. And what's also great is we don't wrap it up in a nice bow at the end of every episode. There's a story that continues throughout, which is really nice.
I describe this show as sweet and smutty.
That might be the first time those two words have been used together. Sarah, you've been on several sitcoms and network comedies, and I'm sure you get many scripts for new TV projects. Coming from that world, what was it about Impastor that sort of got your spidey sense tingling that this is something that could work?
Well, the first thing, I laughed out loud a bunch of times when I read the script, which you just don't do that often, unfortunately. And
She doesn't.
And I just thought it was really funny. And actually, I was sent 3 scripts at the same time by my agents, and they said, one's this one network, and one's a really cool FX show, and the other one's the new TV Land show. And I was like, okay. And I read this one first, and I didn't read the other ones, and I called my agent, and I was like, I like the really cool FX show. And they were like, okay. And there was a series of miscommunications, and finally I was like, no, I like the one about the fake pastor. And they were like, that's TV Land. And I was like, no, that cannot be TV Land. He smokes and he drinks and he, takes on a hooker. Like, this is not TV Land, And they were like, no, they're rebranding. And I was like, are they really gonna keep it like it is? Like, are they gonna shoot this script? Because I like this script. I don't like the watered down version of what this is right now. And they were like, they say they are. And I was like, well, sign me up.
I went
and
to the
I took
head
it.
of Viacom and I said, hey, you promised me right now before I signed this deal that we could say shit and cock. And I'm in. You take away those.
2 words, shit and cock. That's it.
I'm out.
That's his deal on every show,
Shit,
though.
cock, or I'm out.
Yeah.
Because they just fit. It was organic. You just, right? If you watch the show, the cock...
Shit is organic. Cock is not so...
Well, the way it's used, the way the cock
Pretty
is
organic.
used...
Most of them that I've encountered, yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Thank you.
there's nothing for shock value. I don't feel like we're one of those comedies. It's like, okay, now we're going to do this thing, and it's really wild, and you're going to gasp. Like, it all comes from the story. It's story-driven, which is why it's well-written, I think.
I mean, I'm asking you five because you're here, and the head of TV Land is not. But have you heard from them in your conversations with them? You both said you talked to them. I'm sure the other three of you have too. Why they felt like now was the time to sort of embrace content like this when the network has been for years so branded for more family-friendly content?
I don't know.
I think they want to compete like everyone else. I mean, every network wants to have, they want to change their format a little. They go, hey, how can we be edgier? How can we be with AMC and compete with these? Like AMC used to show movies, right? Now they're showing Mad Men and Walking Dead, and they want to compete with those networks. So I think they are with shows like Impastor. So, I mean, that's why they wanted to do it, and that's why they're letting the edge and the language and the content sort of be what it is.
I mean, we're talking about now how this is a new direction for TV Land, and have you found that when you're talking about the show to people or with press, that it takes them a while to process or to get used to the fact that this kind of show is something that's going to be airing on TV Land, which they have known as something different for so long?
I love Sarah keeps going. David?
Anyway, well, I think that, I do find myself, in all honesty, saying, telling friends about the show, and they say, oh, what's it on? And I always do save that to last because I want them to hear the premise and who's in it and what I think of it before they hear what network it's on, only because they have had very different programming for so long that I don't want them to think it's their older fare, let's put it that way. I think that this is new and different for them, and I want people to know what the show is. And then I say, and it's TV Land, and they're rebranding, and they're doing really cool stuff. And I think we're lucky, too, that Younger aired already, and people really liked it, and it was good. So now you can say, you saw Younger, it was really good, and it's really different, and it's edgy and unique, and we're trying to do the same.
I think it's getting people to watch, We really have to get people to watch. The TV's oversaturated. I mean, everywhere you look, there's Hulu, and there's Amazon, and there's Netflix, and there's Apple. Just everywhere you go, it says there's a show. So how do you get people to watch, and how do you say, look, this is good? And so all you could do is, like what we're doing, is just trying to spread the gospel, if you will. And, it's great because my grandpa's 89, and I'm not saying this because he's my grandpa. He tells me, my 2 movies ago, he's like, yeah, that was a piece of shit. I don't know why, can't you get better than that? So he watches, he goes, this is really, I could watch this. The Sun Sentinel, by the way, Sun Sentinel in Fort Lauderdale, we're talking 90-year-olds. God's Waiting Room, no offense, my grandpa calls it that. They give it a great review. The guy wants to talk to me. They love it. TV Guide liked it. Washington Post. It's nice to be on a show that...
old people love us.
Old people are giving us a chance.
Don't say that.
Well, I'm saying everybody.
Change it. Shut up.
It's for all ages.
But I think it's everyone can enjoy the show. There's, so it's a lot of fun.
When you have a show like this that's airing on a network that hasn't typically aired shows like this before, it's content that could be in the wrong hands and the wrong creative team problematic when you're talking about religion and issues of gay people and things like that.
Fortunately, it was in the wrong hands, and that's what makes it funny. Yeah.
So was there a scene when you guys were filming that that you thought, oh, we're actually getting this? Like this is the right tone. This is emblematic of what I hope the show will be and what it should be, and now I feel validated and having my faith in the show.
I think you can just feel it. I mean, it just feels right, and it's organic, and it's funny, and it's fun, and it clicks, and you go, oh yeah, okay, we're good.
I felt it sort of when I was giving a sermon, and I just look out at all the other actors who are playing these such eccentric characters, and looking at him and his disapproval, and looking over him, and he's just looking at me with these big eyes, these big, beautiful eyes.
Oh, keep going.
And, and Sarah just kind of proud that she got me to be the new pastor, and you just wanting to do me. Your character, not her, Mom. I know she's got a fiance or a boyfriend. I just felt like there's something, it just hit me, and I was like, this is right, this is fun, this is different, this is, I don't know. I mean, there were definitely a lot of moments where I'm like, I can't believe we're actually shooting this scene, having sex with a prostitute in the woods, and a young teenage boy takes a picture and tries to frame me, and I have to talk, he's blackmailing me, and I got to get the picture back, and I'm like, we're shooting this is good stuff, this is good.
For you, Mike, was it when you were wearing the leather bondage outfit?
Yes. Funny you bring that up. Yes, that was probably the scene for me where, especially speaking to the gay stuff, where my character is showing up in a very sexually revealing outfit, if you can even call it that, and really making a strong pass for him. And he has to reject me, which is kind of harsh. But then it's followed by like a very sweet moment where he says that I look very cute, and I was like,
which you did.
I think the word
Thank you.
Hey, Russell, you look sexy.
There it was.
This was an exact recreation of the scene from Impastor episode 3.
I almost wore the leather harness today, but I was like, oh, it's hot, I'll get sweaty, get a rash.
AOL with their standards. You know. So now we'd like to open it up to the audience if anyone has questions out here.
How about that guy? The only guy with his hand up. You fella.
I'm very religious. I was Buddhist, but I converted Mormon now. So I'm happy now, yeah. But Marcia, then Sarah, you're so gorgeous. I can't be
thank
sorry,
you.
Mom. Then Sarah, I'm your huge fan since I saw Less Than Perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're so gorgeous. Don't come to. So I have a question for everybody. What's your favorite all-time TV comedy show? Me, maybe Three's Company. Thank you so much.
You are cute as a damn button. Isn't he, guys? What a cutie over there. Marcia, what's your favorite old-time comedy?
All time, that is the hardest question. There you go.
Sledgehammer, yeah! They're all here for you.
No, actually, mine is Mr. Peepers. Remember that? Oh, yeah.
I don't remember Mr. Peepers.
You should look it up because it's really, really funny.
Okay, I will. Sarah.
I liked All in the Family.
Me too.
Were you going to say that?
Right?
Oh, we're so connected.
Yes. Oh, we did. Yeah, what's yours, Mike?
I don't know, this is so hard. Probably just all of the old shows my castmates have been on is what I would say.
Smart man.
The Honeymooners, maybe?
The Honeymooners.
I loved Popular.
Yes. Smallville, thank you. Thank you for that.
Next question.
This question is for Michael. Which do you find more challenging, being a director or doing voiceover work for animation?
Directing, by far, is, when you do voiceover work, which I think we've all done here, is you sit there and drink a 7-Up and just, you don't shave, you don't even have to take a shower, you just read pages and lines, and they go, do it again, louder. Directing, it's just, it's a lot. You got to really come prepared, and I love it, but yes, I'd say animation's a lot easier.
We have a room full of actors. Do you guys have any audition advice for a young actress?
I guess my advice would be just know that there are things that are outside of your control, and the only thing that you can control is your prep, so be really prepared. And then go in and sort of, right before you walk in the door, just have it all in you, and then throw it away and try to relax and have fun, because at the end of the day, there's going to be so many reasons why you do or you don't get a job, and I think you can't control that, and you have to let that go and not worry about it, because it's when you start worrying about why they're not going to hire you, and that's just the kiss of death, I think, in any audition.
Also, wear as little as possible.
No.
Good advice.
Really good advice. No, you know it is. Okay, fine. Say what you want, but you know I'm right.
I don't know if it's good advice, but somebody told me this once, and I always try to do it now, is always plan something very fun after the audition, like have a lunch with a friend or something. And for me, it's so great, because then I'm like, ooh, I get to have lunch with so-and-so today. And I got to go do that thing, too. It doesn't become the focus of your entire day.
Also, it's hard. It's impossible for me to sit there and go, don't be nervous. I still get nervous. You get nervous. You were nervous, yeah. We all get nervous.
Ice water in my veins.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you got to remember this, they're not going to remember you if you suck. They'll just be like, okay, next one, next. So stand out. Try not to be nervous and try to give it all you got, because it's for you. That moment's your time to shine. So that's when I excel, when I just let it go. But it's
or
hard.
Suck so hard that they remember you.
That's true. That's always an option.
Because
yeah.
you could be crazy.
Fucked up so bad. Yeah.
Be crazy, and then when they have a crazy role, they'll be like, remember that girl that sucked really bad? She'd be perfect for this.
I gave the worst audition to Mike Judge once. You know Mike Judge? And my manager calls me and goes, hey, what you doing there, man? And I go, I killed it, right? I just was so crazy. He's like, Dude, you scared the shit out of him. He was like, who is that guy? I don't know what movie he was auditioning for.
What was it for?
It was for Idiocracy.
Oh, I auditioned for him. I got that movie.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go. But
And that's why
I'm
we
just
got
joking.
along
I'm
so
just
well
kidding.
on the set.
No, we did. But I think that actually, I remember auditioning for him and thinking either they're going to have me escorted out of the building by security or I might get the job, and I didn't know which one it was going to be. So your advice is true.
You
Just
think
like,
my judge would want to see stupidity? Anyway.
Hi.
There we go.
Hi.
Hi.
This question is for Sarah. You've been acting at such a young age. How is it to be involved in the business at such a young age? Oh, and I love your hair.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel really lucky. I mean, my parents, my dad was a Broadway stage manager. My mother was an actress. I grew up in the business backstage. I learned a lot from watching, and I was really, really lucky to have that privilege from a very early time in my life. I think also, starting so young, I was lucky enough to work with really excellent actors that taught me the basics, like be on time and know your lines and don't, F the scene up for me, kid, because this is my big moment. And I took all their sort of words to heart, and I try to be mostly professional and on time, right?
You're very the most professional freaking person.
But I think that was good because I had older actors constantly telling me what to do and teaching me, which I think when you start in your 20s or your 30s, people are less likely to tell you how to be because they think you know. So I got a very good education early on.
She worked with Burt Lancaster. Did you know that?
He
No,
played
you
my
do.
grandpa in the first movie I ever did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she worked with Kevin Spacey. Did he talk like this? He's like, listen, Sarah, you're going to do it like this. I know what I'm talking about. I'm Kevin Spacey. Did he do that? No. Yeah, you listen to me.
How was that as an impression, Sarah?
It's pretty good.
1 to 10.
It's pretty good. I was young. Kevin Spacey was a lot nicer to me than Michael's being right now, but yeah.
I'm sorry. No. You should talk. No, do this. No, I'm sorry, Sarah. You're great. You're a great actress. You're very professional.
That's good. That's pretty good.
Do you have another question? Here we go.
Hi there. Hi, cast. How you doing? My question is for Michael. Do you miss playing the role of Lex Luthor on Smallville?
I'll let David answer that for me.
That's the only part he ever wanted to play, and it's all been downhill since then. He lives a life of quiet desperation. He drinks, he does drugs, he's alone most of the time, and he watches reruns of Smallville. He's digitally taken out every other character but his. And he watches it, and he follows it. He has all the scripts, and he follows them, and he mumbles the lines along with the...
Perfect.
Well, there we go. All right, last question.
This question is from Periscope. What social media platform do you feel yourself addicted to the most?
Periscope? What are we supposed to say?
Michael is pretty addicted to Periscope.
I've only
I don't
done
know
it
if you guys
14
follow him.
times.
You Periscope a lot.
I'll show you. 14
That
Periscopes.
seems like a lot to me. I
He's
don't know.
been
what to say.
periscoping from the inside of his pocket this whole time.
3 of them only, I didn't have a good internet enough, so it was like they need to fix their internet more. But it lasted only like a minute. Not me in bed. I'm talking about Periscopes.
We all tweet. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that. Yeah.
At Impastor TV.
At Impastor TV, we'll give you all the details about the show.
Why aren't you on Twitter?
You could just call me.
On that note, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you,
That's
the
it?
cast
No.
of Impastor. That's it. Make sure you tune in to the premiere on Wednesday night. Thank you.